storytellers and story lovers alike, it is me, Melody. Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today I'm going to be recommending you some books. I've got some books that I read and I was completely obsessed with them at my time of reading, and some of them I am still kind of obsessed with, and that's why I think they're going to be good recommendations for you. Some of them you've definitely heard of. Others maybe you've heard of, and some it's quite possible you have not heard of at all, and that is the beauty of this video. There's a sort of a variety of genres here. We've got like romance, we've got literary fiction, we've got like memoir, so stay tuned to get some book recommendations from me. Okay, let's get into the first book. It is a memoir, and it is called Eat, Pray, Love, and it is by Elizabeth Gilbert. Now, I feel like this is like a really, some of you are ready to click off the video. But this is my first recommendation, just because I've read it twice, and I think it's definitely one of my favorite memoirs. And it's a book that means a lot to me. So we're just gonna start it off here. Jennifer Egan from the New York Times Book Review says, oh, by the way, this was published in 2006, I believe. So if a more likable writer than Gilbert is currently in print, I haven't found him or her. Gilbert's prose is fueled by a mix of intelligence, wit, and colloquial exuberance that is close to irresistible. And I have to say, I agree. So if you don't know, I will go ahead and read the blurb for you so you can kind of get an idea of what this book is about. In her early 30s, Elizabeth Gilbert had everything a modern American woman was supposed to want. Husband, country home, successful career. But instead of feeling happy and fulfilled, she was consumed by panic and confusion. This wise and rapturous book is the story of how she left behind all these outward marks of success and set out to explore three different aspects of her nature against the backdrop of three different cultures. Pleasure in Italy, devotion in India, and on the Indonesian island of Bali, a balance between worldly enjoyment and divine transcendence. For more than a decade, Eat, Pray, Love has touched the world and changed countless lives, inspiring and empowering millions of readers to search for their own best selves. And you know what? I feel like that's so true. I think that's exactly why I recommend this book. Because it's just kind of this person who had basically everything, wasn't happy. You know what I mean? And it kind of that question of how do you achieve happiness, or people say, or people ask, is money the key to happiness? And I feel like we should all know that no, money is not the answer to happiness. And I feel like if you or someone you know is struggling to kind of find happiness or just their purpose, it's not gonna, obviously, there is no singular answer, but I feel like it's going to just give a perspective that maybe they need. Elizabeth Gilbert is able to travel to 3 different countries, and not everyone is able to do that, but maybe you're able to travel to 3 different cities in the state that you live in, or 3 different states in the country that you live in. You know what I mean? It just kind of gives you sort of an idea of I don't know, what you can do to add a little pizzazz to your life or something like that. I don't know. But for me, it inspired me to want to travel, and I did some traveling, and I feel like just the things that like she talked about, so like you can just on your travels just think back to this and kind of like relate, even though you're not exactly going through what Elizabeth is going through. But like I could recommend this book 100 times over. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I don't know, it is very inspiring, even if you're not like going through a divorce or like a middle-aged white woman. Like it's okay. Like you can totally find something here. And yeah, it's really good. It's really good, especially when she goes to India, because it's like devotion in India. And I personally am not like a religious person, but I still found so much value in how she was like pursuing like religion and meditation and spiritualness, all that. And it's really great. So yeah, Eat, Pray, Love, that's my first recommendation. My next recommendation is a book that is quite thick but doesn't have that many words, but it is still so beautiful nonetheless, and that is Ain't Burned All the Bright by Jason Reynolds and Jason Griffin, which I feel like they're like this tag team duo, and they have quite a bit of work that they have published together. And the blurb says here, Jason Reynolds using 3 long sentences and Jason Griffin using 300 pages of a pocket-sized moleskin have mind melded this fierce, vulnerable, brilliant, terrifying, what is wrong with humans, hope-filled, hopeful, tender, heartbreaking, heart-making manifesto on what it means to be able to breathe, and how the people and things at your fingertips are exactly the oxygen you most need. So like, I heard about this book from Capri's Island. I think that's her channel. Capri's Island. Capri's Little Island, something like that. And like, I don't know, I like immediately ordered it, and I'm not sure if I read it in one sitting, because as you can see, like it is big, but as I said, there's not a lot of words, but like there are like images, there are like pictures, and like the artwork is very beautiful, and it's just the book was published in 2022, so it's very relatable to what has happened in the past, let's say 4 years. And it's like, so it kind of basically touches on like COVID and everything that happened during that period and like afterwards kind of. And I just feel like it's kind of like therapeutic to just read and to feel like seen and heard, and like, even though it's kind of talking about things that happened in like 2020, it also relates to like a lot that's happening still now in 2024. So I feel like this book is going to be timeless, and because it is timeless, there's no better time than now to pick it up and just have it and be able to like just come back to it whenever like something crazy is happening in the world. And yeah, so it's also like sort of like inspiring just to like, I guess like keep going and have hope or something like that. But yeah, that is Ain't Burned All the Bright by the Jasons. The next book is sort of like, I guess, a literary romance kind of vibe. I don't really remember too much about it, so probably not going to go into too much detail, but we have Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler, right? Yes, Genevieve Wheeler. And obviously I got this in Book of the Month, and I like saw kind of like the little, like, if you have the book of the month, you kind of know that they give like little like tokens, and they say like things that you can find in the book, and whatever was there, it just really drew me in. And then I think I read like the synopsis, and I was like, oh hell yeah, like I think this is for me. Or it wasn't the synopsis, maybe it was like the preview of the book, and I was like, yes please, yes please. And I was so right. Like, I think it's like this and Tomorrow are like the only like book of the month books, I think, that were like actually like thumbs up, you know what I mean? So let's read the blurb. For 26-year-old Adelaide Williams, an American living in dreamy London, meeting Rory Hughes was like a lightning bolt out of the blue. This charming Englishman was the one she wasn't even looking for. Does he respond to texts, honor his commitments, make advanced plans? Sometimes, rarely, and no, not at all. But when he shines his light on her, the world makes sense, and Adelaide is convinced that in his heart, he's fallen just as deeply as she has. Then, when Rory is rocked by an unexpected tragedy, Adelaide does everything in her power to hold him together, even if it means losing herself in the process. With unflinching honesty and heart, this relatable debut from a fresh new voice explores grief and mental health while capturing the timeless nature of what it's like to be young and in love, with your friends, with your city, and with a person who cannot, will not, love you back. So that is Adelaide. I don't know. It was really good. And it was sort of, I read it at a time that I was like kind of in like a reading slump, and I was actually able to like read this book. So it was just like so nice and so refreshing to actually be able to finish something. And this was, oh my God, basically about a year ago, April 2023. So yeah, it's new-ish, and I definitely recommend you get your hands on it. And this next book, I think, is a novel that I followed like right after Adelaide or so. It was a fairly hyped book, and it did live up to that hype. Nikki May says this book is a spiky, snarky, shady, smart, sinister take on white privilege. And this book is, can you guess? Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. Razor sharp, that's what Time says. I love this book. I absolutely had the best time with this book. Okay, the blurb is ridiculously long. So let me give you a recap. Basically, this race matters in the story. So this white girl is like sort of friends with this Chinese girl. Like, they hang out, but they're like not really friends, but like they spend time together, sort of. And then the Chinese girl, she dies, and they're both writers. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. And the white girl, she takes Chinese girl's manuscript that she was working on and publishes it as her own, and basically kind of has to keep up that ruse. And it's kind of crazy. It's like, it's so fun. Like, I believe when people were reading it, they were like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But I just know that people are crazy, and so nothing like surprised me per se in this book. I was just like, yep, that makes sense for this girl to do. And like, yeah, of course she's thinking that. Like, it was just so fun. It was so fun. And I feel like I owe R.F. Kuang for this book, because she inspired, I believe, 2 like flash fictions that I wrote. They'll be linked below. I think one of them is called Kyathan, and I forget what the other one is called. But yeah, she inspired like me to write, and so I love that. I love that so much for me. Just the crazy girl, the crazy main characters, the unhinged characters, I love so much. And I feel like June, our main character, the white girl, she's so unhinged and it's so great. It's so great. It's so great. So totally recommend Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This next book, it's a manga, and it's my first ever manga. It's a horror manga. I was completely entranced. That is Uzumaki by Junji Ito. Now, what is this book about? So, I don't exactly, I feel like I would just mess up the blurb because I don't exactly know how to pronounce these Japanese towns and names. So, instead of doing that, I can just let you know that Uzumaki is like the spiral. I think it means spiral in Japanese. And basically, this hypnotic secret shape is like haunting this town in Japan. And like it's everywhere and it's really freaky and it's so fun, it's so cool. It just starts showing up out of nowhere, and then, you know, we just keep seeing it more and more, and maybe it takes over people's bodies, maybe it doesn't. I don't know, it's just so interesting, and the fact that there are pictures just makes it so much better. Well, just images, maybe I should say. The fact that there are drawings, the fact that there are visuals to go with the story, it's just so great. It's totally like freaky, and like, I don't know, you go through it so fast because even though it is thick, obviously there's not as many words as a novel. So you're kind of able to fly through it, and it's such a fun time. It's such a fun time. So 10 out of 10 recommend. Okay, the next book is a YA, like sort of romance kind of book that just, I didn't expect to love it the way I loved it. I just loved it so much. There's something about knowing what's gonna happen at the end and then waiting for the death to come, you know? This book is They Both Die at the End. Let's see. Quotes? Extraordinary or extraordinary and unforgettable. Basically, like, are you kidding me? Okay. On September 5th, a little after midnight, Deathcast calls Mateo Torres and Rufus Emeterio to deliver some bad news. They're going to die in less than 24 hours. Mateo and Rufus are total strangers, but for different reasons, they're both looking to make a new friend on their end day. The good news is there's an app for that. It's called Last Friend, and through it, Rufus and Mateo meet up for one final epic adventure to live a lifetime in a single day. Like, stop. And boy, did they. And boy, did they. Like, imagine like falling in love in a day and then you're just like, we're gonna die. Oh my God, stop. It's just so good. It's like, I wish I was able to annotate it when I read it the first time, because there's one quote that I just absolutely loved. And it's just like, basically, like, one was like really shy and the other just brought them like to life, and it was so beautiful. It was like he finally came out of his shell and then he died. I like a book that doesn't have a happy ending. Oh, and okay, speaking of, you know, it's sort of refreshing, you know what I mean, to have a book that doesn't have a happy ending. And speaking of, A Little Life. I mean, that's not really a spoiler, especially because this is known as the saddest book on the internet, when really it's not that sad, because we all know it's coming. We see it coming. But also, a lot of people hate this book. I'm not one of those people. A Little Life, I honestly think, is amazing. A singularly profound and moving work. It's not often that you read a book of this length and you find yourself thinking, I wish it was longer. But Yanagihara takes you so deeply into the lives and minds of these characters that you struggle to leave them behind. And that's so true. I can't tell you how many days, like how many weeks, just maybe months, I was just thinking about Jude and Willem. Like, whoa. Like, you know what I also love? Oh, and we'll get to that next. A romance book in disguise. This is a romance book in disguise. And, ooh, boy. I just love it. I just love it, okay? Now, maybe I would read the blurb for you, but, like, the blurb is, like, so wrong. It's like, it's about 4 college friends. It's not. It's about Jude and Willem. You know, the other 2 are just, like, background players. I don't know. But no, I love this book so much. And the writing is so, okay, you have to have, you gotta have your big brain installed. You have to have all the cells there. Because when I tell you I had to read the, like, chapters, like, chapter 1 over and over, like, I think I read it 3 times until I could understand, like, her writing style. Because she'd be using commas and em dashes, like, left and right. And then she transitions between the past and the present. Like, her ability to write, like, she can write. Like, whoa, like, whew, she is an amazing writer. The writing in here, it's like, she has, like, 2 master's degrees. Like, she has a master's in, like, punctuation and transitions. You know what I mean? Like, A Little Life. If you haven't read it yet, go ahead and read it. Don't be that scared. But, like, also be careful, because maybe you should be scared, depending on who you are. But, like, I survived, so maybe you can survive too. But yeah, I guess with any book, I guess you check the trigger warnings, but I think I'm obligated to say that with this book because, you know, it gets a little bad, but yeah, A Little Life. Check it out if you think you can. So speaking of a love story in disguise, let's talk about the Hunger Games trilogy. Oh my god. Like, Katniss and Peeta for life. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, okay. This story right here. The story, the Hunger Games world. Well, I don't know about the world, because that prequel, we're not friends. It's just so good. That's, like, all I have to say. I'll read the blurb if you don't know. In the ruins of a place once known as North America lies the nation of Panem, a shining capital surrounded by 12 outlying districts. The capital keeps the districts in line by forcing them all to send 1 boy and 1 girl between the ages of 12 and 18 to participate in the annual Hunger Games, a fight to the death on live TV. 16-year-old Katniss Everdeen regards it as a death sentence when she steps forward to take her sister's place in the games. But Katniss has been close to dead before, and survival, for her, is second nature. Still, if she is to win, she will have to start making choices that weigh survival against humanity and life against love. A violent, jarring speed wrap of a novel that generates nearly constant suspense. I couldn't stop reading. May the odds be ever in your favor. Just, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the Hunger Games. I mean, I don't really need to say it. Just, for me, personally, it's just an inspiration. Like, just to invent your own world. And I could cry right now. Like, this is, I mean, I know Eat, Pray, Love is, like, my favorite, but, like, this could, like, outdo Eat, Pray, Love, because I absolutely freaking it's just such an inspiration. Like, Susan Collins, like, did her thing. Like, are you kidding me? Like, in those movies too, like the adaptations are so good. I just like, honestly, I'm not lying about crying. Like, I could tear up. Like, the Hunger Games, and I was late to the Hunger Games, by the way. Like, this was like, what, last year? I don't know. Like, it's so good. Like, legitimately, I'm holding back tears. Like, ooh, the Hunger Games is so good. Okay. All right, the next book is another memoir, and it just had me just absolutely gripped from the beginning. The writing was absolutely amazing, and her story too is just so great. I was immersed for the whole ride and would follow Jawad anywhere, says Chanel Miller, whose memoir I also did read, and I also think it was great. Hers being Know My Name. So, Between Two Kingdoms by Suleika Jawad, a memoir of life interrupted. Amazing. Okay. It started with an itch up and down her legs, like 1,000 invisible mosquito bites. Then, a few weeks shy of her 23rd birthday, Suleika Jawad was given a diagnosis: leukemia, with a 35% chance of survival. When she finally walked out of the cancer ward 4 years later, after countless rounds of chemo, a clinical trial, and a bone marrow transplant, she was, according to doctors, cured. But as she would soon learn, a cure is not where the work of healing ends. It's where it begins. To begin to live again, Jawad embarked on a 15,000-mile road trip across the country to meet some of the strangers, teachers and artists, a teenage cancer patient, and a death row inmate who had written to her during her time in the hospital. Along the way, she learned about how we move forward when life is interrupted by heartbreak, loss, disaster, or illness, and how we survive the constant transitions that are essential to the human experience. Between Two Kingdoms is a profound chronicle of survivorship and a fierce, tender, and inspiring exploration of what it means to begin again. So honestly, again, if you're going through anything, or if you feel stuck, or you feel lost, like, just hearing someone else's story, sometimes it's just enough to inspire you, or to make you just gain a different perspective, which might change how you're feeling in the moment. And it was just so good. It was so good. It was so good. It was so good. So, recommend, obviously, Between Two Kingdoms by Suleika Jawad. And, you can also see her featured in the Netflix documentary American Symphony, because her, I forget his name, but like, American Symphony on Netflix, she's in that, so check it out if you feel so inclined. Okay, let's go to an autobiography. Okay, this is like my favorite autobiography ever. It's probably the only one I think I've ever read. Or wait, did I say autobiography? Stop. I meant biography, sort of. I think that's what it's called. Except it's categorized as travel essays. I don't know. Look, I love this story, and I hate what happened, but like, it's real life. Okay. The New York Times said, terrifying, eloquent, a heartbreaking drama of human yearning. All right. This is Into the Wild, written by John Krakauer. I think that's how you pronounce his name. It's just so good. Okay. In April of 1992, a young man from a well-to-do family hitchhiked to Alaska and walked alone into the wilderness of Mount McKinley. His name was Christopher Johnson McCandless. He had given $25,000 in savings to charity, abandoned his car and most of his possessions, burned all the cash in his wallet, and invented a new life for himself. 4 months later, his decomposed body was found by a moose hunter. In this gripping account, acclaimed journalist John Krakauer reassembles the disquieting facts of Chris McCandless's short life and searches for clues to the mystery of his untimely death. Digging deeply, he also unravels the larger riddles surrounding McCandless's case. The pull of the American wilderness, the allure that it holds for restless young men, the complex bond between fathers and son. A cherished contemporary classic of investigative journalism, Into the Wild blazes with power and luminosity on every page. So, like, this man, Chris McCandless, was like, society sucks. I'm gonna go to Alaska, and then he dies. I'm like, wow. I mean, sounds so bleak, but or maybe it is bleak, but like, I mean, it's so amazing, like, because I feel the same way. Society kind of does suck. So, like, wow. If only I had the courage to sell all my possessions and then donate all my money and then also burn the money in my wallet. Wow. Like, honestly, the guy's a hero. Oh, don't look. Don't. I hope you did not see that book. He's a complete hero to me. Like, he's a hero. Okay, this next book, second to last book, it's completely shocking to me. Like, I had barely heard anything about it, and then I felt like it just kind of popped up, and I was like, yes. And Joe Hill says it's one of the best and most Joe Hill says, one of the best and most inventive ghost stories I've read in years, a beautiful dark rush of a novel. And that is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. I think it's Rekulak or Rekulak, but Hidden Pictures. It is so good. So good. I would recommend it to everyone. There's only one real thing that like bothered me in it, but like it's okay. But like with pictures like this, can you see? With pictures like this, like if you're into like creepy, like kind of horror kind of vibes, this is for you. Even if you see the ending coming, because some people do. I did not, because I don't read these types of stories all the time, so it was completely exciting for me. I loved it. Love. Would love to see it as a movie too, except I don't really like horror in the visual format. And by visual, I mean moving picture. I'm not a big horror girly. I'm not, because it always takes place in like autumn, which is like my least favorite season, and like the leaves are falling. Like, I just hate the setting. I hate the environment. Can we get a horror that like, or like some sort of story that like takes place in like summertime? Like, if it's like summer and the colors are warm, like I will be like, yes, please, but it's always fall. Like, I hate fall. I don't want to see fall. Keep fall away from me. Keep winter away from me. So, if, like, it was adapted, I would watch it, but I would definitely probably be like, well, the book was better. Because movies be doing too much when it comes to, like, the scary, creepy genre. They're just like, let's make it, like, sort of yellow, and like let's make it like moody, and let's make it like this house in the middle of nowhere, and it's quiet, and like it's fall and the leaves are falling, and I'm like, okay, I don't care. Like, where I want it to be summertime, I want them to be hanging out at the beach, you know. I want it to be like a horror movie in like disguise, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Maybe horror would, like, sell better. Maybe it would do better in the theaters if it was not fall all the time. Okay. Last but not least. Absolutely 3 things I was positive About 3 things I was absolutely positive. First, Edward was a vampire. Second, there was a part of him, and I didn't know how potent that part might be, that thirsted for my blood. And third, I was unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him. Yeah, Twilight. That's the last book, okay? Sorry, but Twilight still has me in a chokehold. I'm holding Eclipse because that's the one I'm reading. I started a Twilight reread, which has kind of sort of got me out of the 1-year reading slump I've been in, and God bless, because oh my god, I just finished Emily Henry's Funny Story. Like, that was so great. Like, I think I'm reading now. So, yay me. So yeah, Twilight, you know, vampire, werewolf, that kind of vibe. We all know Twilight. Save the best for last. Just kidding. Yay! So yeah, if you haven't read Twilight, I am recommending it to you. It's never too late. You're never too old. You're never too old. It's never too late. Alright, yay! Okay, those are the books that I recommended to you. These are the books that I recommend to you. So we got Eclipse, Hidden Pictures, Into the Wild, Between Two Kingdoms, The Hunger Games, A Little Life, They Both Die at the End, Uzumaki, Yellowface, Adelaide, Ain't Burned All the Bright, and Eat, Pray, Love. Do you recommend me any books? I would like to know. Leave them in the comment section below. I would like to thank you for watching this video. If you're subscribed to my channel, thanks so much. Thanks for being a returning viewer, and thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video. Leave a book stack emoji if you did, and if you're not subscribed and you liked my personality, I totally recommend subscribing, because hello, it's just gonna be more me. Alright, until next time, bye! Hello fellow storytellers and story lovers, I want to thank you kindly for watching my video. If you want to see more from me, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at MelodyCLane. If you're looking for someone to help you develop your story, I'm available. You can find more information on my website. The link is in the description below.